Hi, Alan Stratton from Woodturning. For this project I want to make a segmented bowl out of cherry and walnut. The feature that I want to try out this time is with the walnut ring that is on top here. Normally you just add a ring on top, but with the flare of this bowl I wanted to make sure that the walnut appeared to go clear through. Otherwise it would be a very thin slice of wood on the inside and a very different location, and I just wanted to try out the look on this. Now many of you may have noticed that I've been on location for quite a while. In that time I've acquired a friend, Roger Dawkin, who's loaned me his chop saw, loaned me his table saw, given me citrus, lemons, grapefruit, oranges, all kinds of things. This bowl will be for Roger. So let's make a segmented bowl with cut-in walnut ring for Roger.
When turning solid wood, I don't do a lot of planning beyond a rough idea of the bowl. Then the bowl emerges from the timber. In contrast, in any segmented project, the first thing is a plan. I've drawn mine up in PowerPoint showing the profile and segment size. This is where the bowl emerges. From this I fill in a cutting list. For an 8 segment ring, the cutting angle is 22.5 degrees. I'm using a different chop saw now to cut the segments. This one is not as accurate as Roger's. I'll saw the 8 segments for a ring, then go glue them together before coming back to saw the next set of segments. For me, gluing the segments together is becoming routine. Spread 2 pieces of masking tape, one for each half ring, place the segments on the tape, spread the glue, and clamp them together. My favorite spacer is a pair of small bolts. The clamps are from an automotive parts supplier. With the rings glued up and sanded, it's time to start gluing the layers together. I'll start with the walnut ring. I've used hot melt glue to fasten it to a faceplate. I need to flatten its face and cut a mortise that it will fit to the next ring of cherry. Unfortunately, the wood faceplate came apart despite dowels through the threaded portion and into the pine. Fortunately, I'm able to use the dowels to realign the pieces as I glue it together again. Then back to work, focusing on getting the mortise sides perfectly parallel. Then over to the cherry ring. I need to face it off, then fit it to the mortise on the walnut ring. I've measured the mortise and transferred that measure to the tenon. Then I cut it down to near that size. The worst thing at this point would be to get the tenon too small. Then I'm cutting a near 45-degree chamfer on the end. Fitting the mortise to this chamfer tells me if I'm at all close. If it doesn't go on, I can then cut the tenon back for nearly all of what shows on the chamfer. Once it goes on, I'm cutting it little by little. I'm not putting the mortise to the tenon's chamfer with the lathe running because I don't want a burn mark. Finally, I can glue the 2 pieces together. For now, I'm leaving both on their respective faceplates. A cone center on the live center fits nicely to the faceplate for clamping pressure. I just need to ensure the rings are aligned correctly. These 2 layers are the most critical for the look I want on this bowl. Since the area at the top near the rim flattens out, any ordinary joint would seem to elongate the side of the walnut ring. I want just the outer portion to be walnut at the top of the bowl. I may be nitpicking, but that's the look I'm aiming for. Then I glued up all the other rings one at a time, building down from the top and up from the bottom. Now it's one solid block of wood and ready for exterior shaping. I want a convex curve to the bowl's exterior, so I have a lot of wood to remove. My gouge does a great job. At first, while the rings still have their points, I have to be careful not to catch and break off a chunk of wood. Once it's smooth, I can go as fast as the lathe's power will let me. With a decent shape on the exterior, I'll remove the hot melt glue holding the walnut to its faceplate. By the way, I used CA glue between the bottom ring and its faceplate since it's going to take a lot more pressure in the final turning. Now it's time to reverse the turning onto that small base faceplate and test it. I'll start hollowing the interior with a gouge. Again, easy does it as each ring is not quite circular. Once they are, I can be a little more aggressive. I'll switch to a round carbide cutter to refine the interior. On the sides, I'm tipping the cutter on its side to reduce the amount of surface contact. Otherwise, I get heavy vibration and an uneven cut from chatter. Then I'll do just a little more scraping on the exterior before hand sanding from 80 grit up to 400 grit. I'll finish this bowl with walnut oil. Between a mix of beeswax and mineral oil and walnut oil, these are my currently preferred finishes. This may change, however. With the bowl nearly finished, I'll part it off from the faceplate. I recruited my wife to help catch it. To finish the very bottom, I'm reversing the bowl into a jam chuck. The bowl's top lip is wrapped with masking tape. It's not holding very tight in the jam chuck, so I'll keep the tailstock in place as long as I can. Finally, sand, sign, and finish the bowl. Now, Roger's bowl is complete. I think the walnut ring for the lip was successful. Someone suggested I use a tapered mortise, say between 2 and 4 degrees for this joint, but I haven't figured out how to perfectly match 4 degrees on both the mortise and the tenon. I know I can match 90 degrees as I did in this bowl. I do hope Roger enjoys this bowl as much as I have enjoyed turning it. Please click the like button on this video and subscribe to both my website and YouTube channel. Always wear your face shield. Until next time, this is Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns.